After you've watched the first part, now it's time to get personal. Suppose you're an ant. You're quite pleased with yourself. You're there for the guys when they need you, you're a hard worker, you're even willing to sacrifice your own life for your country when it's in danger. From your individual point of view, you are definitely a positive and moral ant. But what if you change your point of view and look at the tribe as a whole? Remember that survival is of the tribe, not of yourself? Well, the truth is not pleasant to admit. Like all ants, you are automatically activated by a tribal word that is passed to you through a language of chemicals. Indeed, you do have a great character and a personality that is yours alone. However, it falls into the categories required to realize the tribal word. That is what's driving all of your actions. Meaning, you are built for automatic compliance to community strategy, right? In other words, you are conformist and obedient. But you are not an ant. So let's see how it works with humans. Are we too driven automatically, meaning subconsciously, by our identification groups? Are we built to be subconsciously tuned by their narratives? Look at the following simple example. Why do these guys' shorts seem ridiculous to us? We were all used to them a few years ago. What has changed? The perception in our brain of what is beautiful has changed, and it has changed automatically without our awareness of the process. What is now defined as beautiful in our tribe automatically becomes our private opinion. We are automatic conformists. That's why we tend to think and do what everyone else does, even when it is clearly irrational behavior. In fact, the rule seems to be very simple. We automatically conform if at least 3 members of our identification group send repeated and simultaneous simple messages. Another good example of a community algorithm is altruism, a preference for the interest of others at the cost of harm to yourself. When there is a war over the clan's home, most men in the world choose to voluntarily enlist, fight, and risk their lives for the tribal survival. Something happens in their brains. The community algorithm takes control. They unconsciously change personality. From a citizen phenotype, they turn into a warrior phenotype. Some of them will turn into dodgers, draft evaders. If in the first personality, they turn their heads away when there is a dead bird on the road, now they are mentally organized to kill a lot of people. If they had been afraid to cross a busy street before, now they are built to run between the whistling bullets. The rational private consideration of being a dodger and keeping your own life is lost in the face of emotions that flood you straight from the subconscious brain and direct you to become an altruist and a warrior. By the way, a similar switch of phenotype happens with these guys, only the content of social norms is another. Here too, we are just like many other animals, ants, bees, lions, monkeys, primates. In all of them, observations have been made that the number of draft evaders gets smaller as the threat gets closer to the tribe's home. But what is that tribal word, and how is it internalized into our subconscious brain? Look at the following example. These Germans were considered world leaders in free thought and liberalism. Suddenly, almost at once, they became genociders, devoid of human conscience. Then, after a few more years, they became part of the family of nations again. What has changed so easily and quickly? Only the tribal word, the social norms that are programmed in the brain of each individual. They change so radically that a normative person could suddenly see a good value in the murder of all my ancestors. Then, after the war, the tribal word changed again, and in the blink of an eye, the values of what is good and what is bad changed again. How did it happen? Through extreme conformism and obedience. What is amazing is the ease and speed with which we internalize the tribal word, even when it turns and flips on itself. So we have learned this. We are built for tribal survival rather than private, and are automatically activated by the tribal word, where conformism and obedience are built to prevail over our brain's critical thinking system. And note, all this happens automatically behind the conscious system of our brains. It sounds a bit humiliating, but do not forget, This is what we're built for. That's how it must be so that our tribes can survive. Now that we feel as proud as ants to be part of a community algorithm, let's look at some quick examples. It seems that some simple means greatly increase the power of conformism and obedience. Uniform, tribal symbols, identical and simultaneous body movements like marching, saluting, prayer, simultaneous singing, shouting, or praying. Again, it's not that we are very shallow people, rather it makes sense. The same basic mechanisms apply to the bacteria, the ant, lions, chimps, and us. It is no accident that in so many different situations, we see these basic conform catalysts repeating themselves. We have seen that the tribal word is embedded in our automatic subconscious brain and activates us. We saw that the content of the tribal word does not matter. What matters is only that it belongs to the tribe we identify as ours. In other words, part of the community algorithm for which our brain is built is the adaptation of the current narrative of our identification groups in a cognitive schemes. The word current is of great importance, since the narratives are the tuners of the community algorithm and therefore are meant to have maximum elasticity. The narratives of the tribe are meant to be temporary and flexible to change, and not to have permanent eternal values. Let's summarize everything we have seen so far. If we change our point of view from individual to tribal or communal, then we realize that we are built for automatic compliance to community strategy. We think and choose actions, or phenotypes, automatically according to the current narrative of our identification groups. We have completed a full circle and come back to the ultimate community algorithm that we mentioned in the beginning. The one that can be tuned in real time with streaming tribal information. Narrative is the ultimate community algorithm tuner, and we are built to comply. One last thing we want to return to: the matter of character or personality. Why is there a different character to different individuals of the same species? Why aren't all the lions brave? It pays off, and after all, they are all descendants of alpha males. Or another possibility: why are not all animals completely flexible in nature? Why don't they switch between bravery and caution in accordance with the surrounding conditions? We think that the reason for the existence of differentiation of characters is that it is necessary in order to implement a tribal policy through the community algorithm. The added value of having different phenotypes in the community is enormous, since different individuals will perform different tasks and have different social roles. For the survival of the tribe, it needs good role players and a great community algorithm. We will part now with important dilemmas that arise from what we presented.